Good morning, good afternoon. Actually, grandma clock is going off. I hope you can see and hear me. Hi, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I like to talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds since starting the ketogenic diet, how you might be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your Saturday, this last Saturday of 2019. Exciting. Uh, so I will jump right on in. Jack, that'll do. That's just Amazon, honey. No, that'll come over here. Jack is letting me know that we're receiving a delivery. Okay, so actually, what we're receiving delivery of is a wireless Wi-Fi camera to put in our hen house to see who's laying the eggs. But enough of that. Hi, everyone who's joining. Thank you so much for popping in. You know, the title of this one, the theme of this live stream is the year in review, 2019. So, Jack and Cuckoo goes off. Live TV. Jack, come over here. He's just doing his job. We're not mad at Jack for that. As we reflect on 2019, sorry for the disjointed nature of this to start off, I have to tell you, as far as the keto world, my keto world, he never barks. I mean, very rarely. I don't think he liked the lime green jumper. Nothing has changed as far as my understanding and implementation of the protocol. For those of you who don't know, the way I learned and have practiced the ketogenic protocol is carbohydrate intake limited to 20 total grams a day or fewer. So fewer is okay. Eating fatty sources of protein, and to keep it simple and to support the good work of the good Dr. Westman, keep it on page 4, which there's a link below to get his official codified page 4. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop when you're satiated. And really on page 4, it's just fatty sources of protein and non-starchy vegetables and some leafy greens. Some full-fat dairy if you can tolerate it. That's all there is. I haven't changed that from the day I started nearly 6 years ago. January 8, 2014 is when I started. For those of you who don't know my story, I was morbidly obese, perfectly round for 30 years. I'm 5'1", and I am about 115 and a half pounds off of my heaviest weight. So that's a lot of weight to carry on a short frame. You can see my before photos at my blog if you wish. But I was really fat and had been for 30 years, from about my mid-30s to my mid-50s. When I had given up trying to lose weight, I had tried the triathlons, I had tried the gym memberships, I had done the move more, eat less, I'd done the low fat, I tried everything we were told to try. And I just got heavier and more miserable. I just didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. So I Googled how to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes, came across Dr. Westman's white coat video, and my world was changed forever. But that is how I learned to do it. Keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer a day, total not net, eat fatty sources of protein, don't eat if you're not hungry, stop when you're satiated. Now, so my world of keto has not changed significantly. But you all can probably rattle off lots of things you've heard in 2019 that are confusing and complicated and arbitrary and illogical and have nothing to do with the protocol. So you don't need me to even say them. I bet you can. Some of the phrases and words I try to avoid using even. I don't want to give them any more traction. Some of them are misuses of language, which words matter. And some of it is a fundamental misunderstanding. Thank you, Alexa. I dare not say her name or else you'll start talking to me. And yours will start talking to me as well. Is there anything else that can make noise around me right now? Good heavens. was I going to say? Oh, a fundamental misunderstanding of how the protocol works. I'm not a scientist, nor a researcher, nor a medical provider, but I really know what has worked for me. And I know the reason it works for me. I know enough, and I'm educated enough, and I'm well read enough, and I was highly motivated to find this stuff out to know kind of physiologically why it works for someone like me. The fact is, most everyone's like me. I am not unique. Most adult humans eventually start becoming resistant to insulin that is normally produced in our body. It's just, type 2 diabetes used to be known as a disease of middle age because it usually took 2 or 3 decades to get there. Now we've got 7-year-olds who are diabetic, type 2 diabetic. But really, the protocol really is that. So year in review, let's start ticking off things that you don't need to do that maybe you've seen. You don't need to buy anything for one thing other than just food, just normal whole food, fatty sources of protein. And fortunately, very often the best meats and poultry for this protocol are the most affordable. Chuck roast instead of an eye of the round, which is very lean. Chuck roast is nice and fatty. Ribeye instead of filet mignon, extremely lean. Poultry with the skin thighs, as opposed to boneless, skinless chicken breasts, which are more expensive. So you just need to buy good food, and that's it. And don't eat it until you're hungry. You don't need to purchase anything, not a testing device, certainly not prepackaged drinks and shakes and powders and supplements and all that. You don't need any of that. Just eat food, normal food. You don't need to buy testing supplies unless you want to. I tested my ketones yesterday by blood. I used the Keto Mojo, which not a sponsor, but if you go to my blog and click on the link in the sidebar to get a new kit, you will get a little discount, and I'll get a little something. It is an affiliate link, but it's because I use it. I like it. I used to use the Precision Extra, which does a great job, but the strips were really expensive. And I like the actual device on the Keto Mojo better for a couple of reasons. Anyway, I had put on 5 pounds overnight, or from one weighing to the next. And I had no idea why. That was extremely unusual for me. That just doesn't happen. My weight has been pretty stable. And so fluctuations of 1.2 pounds up or down, or 0.9 pounds or whatever. So I was curious, what the heck? Did I consume something that maybe had hidden sugars or carbs, which would be very unusual because we only eaten at home, but I didn't know. So I tested my blood, my beta hydroxybutyrate, which is what is measured by blood. It was 3.7, so I was not kicked out of ketosis. But you don't need to measure unless you want to. You don't need to pound back fat. That is a misunderstanding. There is not a minimum threshold for fat. There is a maximum threshold for total carbohydrate. For most people, that's 20. So it's not the presence of the fat, it's the absence of the carbs that gets us burning fat for fuel, which is what we want. We want to burn our body fat. And if we will just reduce our carbohydrate intake to the point that is for us as individuals where we are burning fat for fuel, hallelujah. Now, something that can happen, and something that is a difference for me today as opposed to this day last year, I'm older than I was. No duh. I need less fuel. I've gotten to the point in life where I've just kind of fallen off the cliff as far as my fuel requirements. I just need less. I'm 61 years old. I need less fuel than I did 5, 10, 20 years ago. Just as growing teenagers need much more fuel than someone in their mid-30s, right? So that continues to fluctuate. So I am reassessing. I'm having to pay very close attention to my true hunger signals As we say around Go Keto with Casey, push the peckishness. I can be peckish for hours and it doesn't get worse. And then at some point I realize I'm pretty empty. I should eat something. But what I need less fuel to deal with that hunger than I used to. So 2019 was kind of a change for me, and I continue to tweak. So one thing we do want to do, this is not a set it and forget it protocol. You don't just say, oh, I can tolerate 35 grams of carbohydrate a day, and I can eat every 4 hours and I'm good. Well, that's great, but you might find as you lose weight, become less voluminous, and get older, you might need to reassess that. You might find, well, 35 is not working for me so good. I really better just pull back to 20 grams a day, which is kind of the standard, 20 total grams, not net. Do what works for you, but do be aware that this time come 2020, in the last days of December 2020, your nutrition protocol may need to be tweaked from where it is today. That's just being a human. Again, look at all the phases of life that we go through and our different energy requirements based on our gender, our body composition, our stage of life. I am no longer every month preparing to host a human being and haven't been for a long time. Hallelujah. Now, I love the humans I hosted and they're great, but I'm glad I'm not in the market for that anymore. So my energy requirements truly are different. There's a lot of jargony stuff out there that confuses people. You know what? I'm going to have this a little bit of a vent. If you're typing something and you're so freaking busy that you cannot type out full words for what you mean, you must use abbreviations, then you're too busy to post. Take a moment, type words. Type words. Because then because people coming after you say, what does that stand for? And I'm not even going to call those abbreviations. I'm not going to call them out because they irritate me. Because they're arbitrary, for one thing. Don't eat if you're not hungry, but eat if you're hungry, no matter what the clock says. Here's a thing that happened in 2019. There apparently is and I don't like to use the word, fasting app. Really? We were talking about this, and I think Amy Berger and I said it at the same time as we were discussing this. A fasting app is called your watch. If that's what you're going to do, it's better called time restricted eating. If you're going to do that, which I don't do that, do it if you like it. Use your watch. And apparently there's something there is a fasting bar that you can purchase to eat. So that's where we want to quote The Princess Bride. I don't think that word means what they think it means. So that's a thing. Let's do away with those things. Keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer a day, total, not net. Eat fatty sources of protein. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop when you're satiated, not stop when you're stuffed. There's a difference. There's a thing. Leptin is a hormone. And one of the things it does is it sends the satiety signal to our brain. So leptin has to do its thing, get to the brain, say, okay, you're satisfied. You can stop eating now. But that takes some time. It takes, I don't know, depending on your body, 12, 15, 18, 20 minutes, depending. If we have inhaled our plate of fuel in 7 minutes, we have not given the leptin the chance. That's why sometimes we eat and then a few minutes later we're like, whoa, what did I just do? Even if it's all keto-friendly food, we can overeat. And frankly, probably many of us do still. We probably consume more fuel than we need. So consuming the correct amount of fuel for us, no matter what time of day it is, makes sense for just about everybody. So slow down. Eat more slowly. Put your fork down in between mouthfuls. One thing, it's polite. No one likes to see someone shoveling food into their mouth like someone who's just been saved from a desert island after 6 months. Slow down. We need to let our bodies do their job. Our body's the original app. by the way, I will take a moment. And I know some of you patrons are here, but thank you to the patrons. I do want to say, here's the 2020 Go Keto with Casey calendar. This is our third or fourth year we've done this, and there are all sorts of little sayings in there, for the month. I've said every day I'm sending out a batch of them. When they're gone, they're gone. I think might be a link. You can certainly see them at my blog under swag. And one of them is, I think it is Our Bodies, the original app. Is that right? I can't remember. And I don't have my glasses on. So listen to our bodies. Again, this is nothing new for 2019 and into 2020. This protocol has not changed for me in 6 years. And I learned it from a person who's been implementing it in a clinical setting at Duke University for 20 years. And he got he was inspired and got the implementation from a clinic in Manhattan, the late Dr. Atkins, who'd been doing it since the 70s. And, it goes all the way back to William Banting, a mortician, an undertaker in England, who wrote the treatise on corpulence because he was way overweight. And that was in the 1860s. So this is nothing new. I guess it's the nature of some humans to want to overcomplicate things for themselves. It certainly is the nature of commerce to want to complicate it so they can sell us something to make it simple. But there is nothing extra you need to buy. Not even a calendar, not even a mug, not even a t-shirt that says I see and IW, I can and I will. You don't need a special t-shirt or a special mug or a grocery bag or anything special. Just get fatty sources of protein. Don't eat them until you're hungry. Stop when you're satiated, not stop when you're stuffed. So can you guys think of some things that you've seen over the last year or so that just kind of make you scratch your head a little bit and say, really? That doesn't quite make sense to me. I'm not sure how that would work. So I'm going to turn my attention right now. Lisa Taylor writes, I'm having my decaf coffee and heavy whipping cream while I listen. I'm going to make a mug that says, having coffee with Casey. Like button press. Thank you. Hey, Lee, how you doing? How you doing? I'm so glad to see you here. And y'all have been talking to each other. That is fantastic. 08094 Denise writes, I noticed in 2019, the keto world became a big money grab. The ridiculous keto products available on the market exploded this year. About every week, sometimes a few times a week, I'll get an email from some company that says, oh, we love your content. Would you like to become an affiliate for our nutty granola bars? Again, I don't think they're paying attention to my content. So remember, y'all, that the word keto, the phrase keto, is not regulated. So that can be slapped onto anything, including Slim Fast cans that probably were packaged 10 years ago. No, not for nothing. Keto Slim Fast. We know that Weight Watchers will probably come out with a keto version, which probably will be something like, eat what you like as long as you keep below your points and keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer. Okay. Listen, a lot of what we need to do, the food is easy. When I talk with people, and either in groups or one-on-one, it's almost never about the food. The food is pretty simple. I mean, it's a one page. It's fatty sources, it's animal product with the fat that came with it. Just eat the fat that comes with the protein. Eggs with the yolks, poultry with the skin, bacon with the fat, dairy with the full fat. Don't do low fat anything, because if they take out the fat, the sugar content goes up. But a lot of it is what we say to ourselves. And for me, I have been working on myself. I'm a pretty happy person and I've had a pretty good year, but I'll tell you, I'm in a different headspace right now than I was this time last year. And that is continues to evolve and improve. And who would have ever said, oh, when you're in your 60s, you're going to feel better about yourself and life than you did in your 50s or your 40s or your 30s. And I'm talking about inside my head. My life has always been very good. I've had struggles, as we all do. But in general, I have about the best life of anybody I can think of. But I was not happy. And maybe it's a function of age. Maybe it's a function of feeling just overall physically pretty good. And I continue to feel better and do better and move more. I mean, I'm pretty active. But you get to a point where you got nothing to prove to anyone. I've heard a lot since the holidays about people who were getting quasi-lectured from friends and family about their food choices, meaning you must eat vegetables or fruit is mandatory or you're going to kill yourself. First of all, nobody gets a vote on what you eat. I don't get a vote on what anyone eats. I would no more tell someone what they should eat than jump off a bridge because it ain't my business. But what we tell ourselves is a big deal. I'm getting ready to send out these cards. Third in a series. Don't be discouraged, be determined. Because some people put them on vision boards. And these go out to all $10 plus patrons. I'm stronger than a cookie. You know, this gets me when people write, I do fine, but then I'm powerless against French fries at my favorite restaurant. I'm powerless. Are you really powerless against French fries? Because you know what they are? They're French fries. They are fried potatoes. And they will be gone in 4 minutes. So, you know, if you eat them, you're powerless? No. We have buried loved ones. We have survived medical crises. We have balanced our budgets, sometimes at great risk. We're not powerless against food. We want to tell ourselves that so that we can eat the French fries. And eat the French fries if you want. That hasn't changed in 2019. If you want to eat the daggum stuff, just own the choice. Own the decision. Don't tell anyone you're powerless. Give yourself a little bit more credit. And give credit to the people who are listening to you because everybody knows that's not true. I can and I will. Instead of I can't and I've never been able to. Stop saying that. We need to quit telling ourselves that. I'm working on that. There are things that I have not done that I should be doing and should have done already. It has nothing to do with food. It's deep personal stuff. And so I'm trying, my husband, my lovely mate will say, you need to quit saying it like that. You're right. I need to quit saying that out loud. I need to quit thinking it. So stay away from the bars. They're packed all full. Yeah, most convenience foods are convenient, but they're cheap. I mean, in every sense of the word. Okay, Tamalina Maxon. What do I do about excess skin as a mature woman? Does it get any better in its own? I'm a mature woman. I have excess skin. I do not have the kind of skin I would have anticipated if someone had said you're going to lose 100 pounds. I would have assumed I would absolutely need skin reduction surgery. I assumed my tummy would turn into a tripping hazard, but it hasn't. I will say this. There is a thought that the anti-inflammatory properties of this protocol, once you start burning fat for fuel, you know, it impacts our kidneys, our livers, our brains, everything else. Our skin is our largest organ. So it's possible that my skin is better than it might have been because, for one thing, I was a normal, gradual loser. It took me about 3 years, almost exactly 3 years, to lose the 97.4 pounds. And I've been there for about 3 years. But I'm 61, so I have crepey skin, but nothing like I anticipated that I would have. I would wish I had fewer wrinkles. But here's another question. Who cares about skin, wrinkly skin? Who are we trying to impress? You know, I've got a daughter. She's in her late 30s. I don't want to look like her sister unless that's just the way it happens to be. I'm her mother. I'm in my 60s. I want to look age appropriate or better if it's naturally occurring. But thank you for the question. Please do not use the A word about the skin. That irritates me as well. Take a Nobel Prize winning thing for science and then turn it into something that, again, I don't think that word means what you think it means. Hey, Jacqueline, she writes, I liked your phrase from last week. I practice keto every day. Yes, this is a practice. I have to remind myself of things every day. Not every single day, but a lot of times, depending on, if I'm bored, lonely, not really from stress. One thing, I don't have too much stress in my life. I gave that up. I decided not to be stressed. And that might sound coy, but I did decide not to be stressed. Sometimes, we choose happiness. Happiness can be a choice. And sometimes stress is a choice. Sometimes some people like to gin up drama around themselves. That's just what they like to do. I don't like to do that so much. I lived in stress too much. I'm not going to do that anymore. But anyway, sometimes I have to remind myself that I don't eat mixed nuts. Okay, I'm not going to, hey, Lisa, thank you. I'm not using that word. Again, I think a tiny little thing exploded into an answer for stuff. It's too complex a thing. And okay, so people will tell me, oh, your skin looks so good. It must be because you're fasting and autophagy. I don't fast. So no, that's another thing. That's where I predict there will be someone who will market something called autophagy cream, which is ridiculous. Do you know that there are now gluten-free products in shampoo and probiotics for your hair? These are just buzzwords, y'all. These are just things that people just make up out of whole cloth and stick it on a product. Remember when it was all about what was the ingredient that was it was in everything? For a while it was avocado, and then it was almond, and then it was oat. Sometimes you can get them all in one thing, oat and avocado and almond for your shampoo. Really? Do we really think our hair needs oats? One thing that did happen in 2019, my hair keeps getting shorter. Ooh, my husband and I have the same haircut now. Thank you. I don't know that I answered your question, but it's my understanding of things. Hey, Karen, good to see you. I found some good quick recipes on Keto-Connect that are not so heavy compared with some of the cheese-laden recipes out there. I don't watch food channels. My husband and I might start making food videos, but I think we need to step away from the food channels. If you're a recovering alcoholic, you should watch videos on how to mix cocktails, whether they're non-alcoholic or not. Now, my husband is a good cook, and we might just make videos with me behind the camera because I don't want to do it, and him just showing the basics of actual cooking. Like, how do you roast a chicken? How do you season a steak? You would think this is very basic, but I've been reminded several times that some people, their entire lives have been fast food and convenience store food, and they just don't know how to cook. Michelle, and let's not forget about maintaining our gut biome. Please, our guts know what to do. Feed it the food it wants to have. Merry Christmas, Casey from Boise, Idaho. Hey, Debbie. Just use natural animal fat moisturizers on your skin. Several people make them on Etsy. And do not worry about loose skin so much. It'll shrink in time, or it won't. Yeah, absolutely. It will or it won't. Lee writes, Casey, make food videos. Food Network I watch every day. Don't run to the kitchen for food. Your hubby is right. Food should be no more than fuel. Precisely. Yeah, watching cooking shows just creates cravings, right? Why would we subject ourselves to that? But some people don't know how to cook. They really don't know the first thing about cooking. Do you know that, I know how to perfectly boil an egg, but I didn't always. By the way, our chickens are really producing. We've got, I don't know how many eggs. We've already gotten 6 today. I'm pretty excited. I know I could hear them squawking up there, so I know we've got more coming. How do you boil an egg? How to spiralize noodles so you don't have to pay $6 a pound for spiralized zucchini. Because you can buy that prepackaged now, and it takes, seriously, 15 seconds to do it. I do want to say I have a shout out and a thank you to patrons, some of whom are here. 10 seconds to say thank you. There is patron-only content that I provide for patrons. Everything from $3 up, you get 20 videos a month from me, from my kitchen breakfast bar right here, before makeup, sometimes before coffee, to patron-only live streams, about a half a dozen a month, to patron-only video group sessions, about half a dozen a month, to one-on-ones with me, plus some discount on selected swag and events. So thank you to the patrons. You can just find it, link below. Okay, I'm looking. Okay, Carol writes, including your cooking video, fermentation and drying meats. That's a good thing to do. I know we don't do so much fermentation. I think I've made a yogurt video, how to make yogurt. I don't think I've made a beef jerky. I've got a really good marinade recipe for beef jerky. My husband likes beef jerky. And we have a dehydrator. It's dead simple, but I'll do that. I mean, just real basic things, not how to make this fake thing, not fake bread, not fake, because I don't want to promulgate that. Would love the beef jerky recipe. Okay. Oh, Dr. Westman's Keto Retreat. There's still time to sign up. I think there's still time to get it at a discount in Beaufort, North Carolina. As a matter of fact, my husband flew down to Beaufort today. We're going to probably fly down in his Mooney if the weather's good that day, because it's about a 4-hour drive from where we are. But Dr. Eric Westman, Jackie Everstein, Amy Berger, me, I believe Christy Sullivan will be there doing some cooking videos, demonstrations, not videos, demonstrations. And then you all. And there'll be music. And this is going to be a great conference. It's going to be unlike any other conference that you might have been to, because it's going to be really loose and open. So link to that below. If you can't find a support place, there's the low carb support group in Durham, the first Tuesday of every month, totally free. Dr. Westman and I are there moderating it. He's been doing it for years. I have a Go Keto with Casey meetup the second Monday of every month, free. If you can't find something like that in your area, start one yourself. Because if you're interested in it, it's just bound to be that others are as well. And sometimes you just want to talk to people. Sometimes it's about the food. What do we do about the food? But usually it's, how do I deal with these friends who are pushing food on me? They know that I'm feeling better and I'm trying to eat differently, and they insist on dropping food off for me or taking me out for my birthday. Hey, listen, for my birthday, give me steak, not cake. Someone said that before. I'm just stealing that. It's how do you, people who feel like this is difficult for me because I've always used food to cope with stress. Well, no, we use food to not cope. Eating is not fixing the problem unless the problem is actually hunger. If hunger is not the problem, food is not the solution. Eating will not make your boss a nicer person. Eating will not make your spouse more attentive. Might have the opposite effect. Eating will not make sure that the radiator in your car is fixed. Food doesn't do any of that. We tell ourselves this because that's what we want to believe. And because, frankly, sometimes we just want to eat. Eat if you want to eat. But don't say it's because you're coping with stress. Say it's because you want to eat. Elizabeth Taylor, the late wonderful Elizabeth Taylor, um, she was an alcoholic and she went to rehab. And she, in an interview, she said, we sat around talking about what caused all this. And, Elizabeth Taylor, she was acting from the time she was 8 years old or something and had a very dramatic life. And, people were trying to reason out with her why she might have been drinking. What deep-seated thing was it? She said she finally just told him, I just like to drink alcohol. It wasn't any deep-seated thing. Just face it. If you just want to eat, eat. But if you want to feel better, maybe you want to ask yourself some questions like, what good is that food going to do me right now? So 2019, for me, the protocol has not changed, not one bit. Even though I need less fuel, that's still part of the protocol. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Finding out what actual hunger is, that can be the key. Feeling a little peckish, that, I could eat. That's not hunger. That's, I could eat. Liken it to this. Sometimes if someone says, I'm going to the ladies' room, you want to come with me? Powder your nose. Oh, yeah. And so you go to the ladies' room and you use the toilet because, you can almost always pee. But you really didn't need to. I could pee, but I can pass. Until you get to the point where I got to get to the ladies' room right now. That might be an hour later. So hunger can be like that as well. Okay, y'all are talking to each other. I love this. See, you don't need a formal group. Y'all talk to each other. On the patron-only live streams, like the other day, I had a technical issue. I had to totally reboot my system right when I was supposed to start. And I get in there, and they're all having conversation with each other. They know each other, where they live, how's the weather, who's getting married, all that stuff. Michelle V writes, yes, I feel most people do not eat unhealthy foods due to life trauma. It just tastes good. They want the instant gratification. Then the sugar sets off the craving spiral. Binguito, my friend Michelle. I want to do the Wine Wednesday. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes, well, you absolutely can. I'm going to be seeing Amy tonight, as a matter of fact, in person. I'll see Dr. Westman as well tonight. My husband and I will. So I'll ask her if she wants to continue the Wednesday Wine Days, for those of you who don't know. It's a registered event through Crowdcast, and I send it out. But she's in her home, I'm in mine. We drink our beverages such as they are, and people show up, and we talk about wine and cheese and pairings and keto and life. Yeah, you're most kind, Lee. Karen writes, I'm going to be going between Anderson, South Carolina and Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and I'm hoping to find some keto peeps out there. Oh, that's cool. Lisa writes, I believe for myself, I just want to talk to people and socialize when I'm bored or not socializing. That's when I would start eating. Hey, Judy. What time is Wine Wednesday? It is 8:30 p.m. Eastern, the third Wednesday of the month. So Durham support group meeting, free. First Tuesday of the month. Go Keto with Casey meetup in Greensboro. Second Monday of the month. Wednesday Wine Day. Third Wednesday of the month. So far. Love seeing those piles of eggs. So fun. My younger girls are just starting to lay. Yeah. We're waiting on our first blue egg. We should have at least 2 blue layers. We have a couple, at least green layers, and we're getting green eggs. Mostly are white eggs and different shades of brown. Does anyone have anything before I wrap up here that they would like to ask in particular? You can ask me anything. You can ask each other questions. You can offer a challenge or a suggestion, observation. Keep it clean. Gray's Custom Trim says, thank you all. It's just nice to feel so much better. In all the hubbub about the scale, it is easy to forget that we feel better. Almost everyone that does this feels better in one way or another. So compare 2019, looking back a year. Even if the scale didn't budge much or at all, coming off of medications, not needing an afternoon nap, not having joint pain, being able to walk the dog without getting winded. I mean, for some people, these are big deals, as they should be. And just think, just don't wait till January 1st. If you got off track, that's a shame. If it was not because you intended to, some people say, I'm going to dive in, I'm going to eat whatever I want over the holidays. Mazel tov. But if it was not what you wanted to do, just the next holiday, because there's one every month, just arm yourself. Tell yourself you don't eat carbs over the holidays, no matter what. But think about this time a year hence and how you might feel and how you want to feel. And if I can feel so much better, even after all these years of doing this, now than I did a year ago, I just feel my outlook is so great. I've always been fairly optimistic, except for those years I spent chronically depressed. But I'm a naturally optimistic person. But things are just getting better, which is amazing at my stage of life. Nancy Fennell writes, I feel much healthier at 70 than I did at 40. I'm not yet 70, but I'm right there with you, Nancy. I am so much better off than I was at 30. And it's difficult to believe that, because we've been told, spring chicken. And after you get to a certain age, it's all downhill from there. No, not for me. I mean, some things, I absolutely have more wrinkles, and I wish I wish I had flawless skin, but I don't. Thank you, Michelle. Oh, Marie. Hey, Marie. Anyone in the Charlotte, North Carolina area? There, actually, Michelle, Marie, there is a meetup. Look up Digital Keto. Digital Keto. Judy, a woman named Judy, is running that. She comes to the Durham support group meetings every now and again. She drives all the way from Charlotte to Durham. So look up her site, Digital Keto. I have a 2-drink limit. Any more than that, it makes me ill. You must be talking about anyone in the Tacoma, Washington area. This is great. Yeah, put it out there. Start your own meetup. Sometimes I do my meetup and one person shows up. I always bring a book because I'm never sure who's going to show up, how many. But if one person is helped, that's great. Okay, thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. Take it easy. And be kind to yourself. Grab yourself a calendar if you want one for a little motivation. If you're a $10 plus patron, you'll get all the cards as long as the supplies last. Start a meetup if you want. Come to some of the conferences. If you can't make it to Dr. Westman's Keto Retreat, the first one, I'm sure there will be more. Wait for the next one. But it's going to be fun. And very open and Jackie Eberstein and Eric and Amy and I are all extremely accessible. Honestly, we're all just going to hang out together. Okay, Grand Sobi asks, could you tell me what type of wine to drink I need for a friend? Just any dry wine, red or white. Avoid sangrias or cordials or muscadine grape wines. No sweet wines, but dry wines. I like Chardonnay. Is my fave. Happy New Year, all. That's a good way to end this off. We'll see you in 2020. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your input. And remember, if I can do this, you can do this. 100% guaranteed. I am not special. I don't have any special superhero skills. I just left off the carbs. And that's all it is. Next time you eat, leave off the carbs. Okay, thank you.